Welcome to New York's underground, where the competition is brutal and everyone's fighting to be the best.
Lose one step in this game, and everybody leaves you.
I think this movie would have done better when it was called Lack of Fighting. It's like only...
Oh, no.
Now,
is this like crossover?
Man,
where you have a basketball game in the beginning and then nothing until the very end?
No, you actually have one scene of fighting in the middle, and it's not that much of a fight.
That's not entirely true. But when you call a movie fighting, you don't expect talking. And really, there's a total of 4 fights, real fights in this movie. If you count the little slap and tickle thing at the beginning that they used to test him. There's only 4 fights in the whole film. This film is effectively, imagine if you would, in the 70s, somebody made a blaxploitation era type of movie based on Rocky. And it's all about a guy doing underground fights. This is a movie about a guy who came from nothing. Not nothing. Nothing. He came from nothing. He's going to go back to nothing, and all he's got are these 2 fists right here. And so when someone offers him a chance to use them in an underground fight, he takes it. He also kind of falls in love with this girl who's also kind of nothing, but he's trying to prove himself to her, and he's got the sleazeball manager, and it's really all about that.
Yeah, basically what it is like you got Channing Tatum who sells counterfeit shit on the street. iPods and books. How you counterfeit those things? I don't know. I thought counterfeiting money was hard. Yeah, this fool counterfeits Harry Potter. Now,
no one said it's all written in crayon
no one
on
said he
Xerox
was right.
paper.
Okay.
Yeah, so he sells his stuff on the street for $20. Now, somebody across the street sees him, and they test him out to see what his fighting skills are like, and that is Terrence Howard. So from that moment, when he sees that this guy can actually fight, he goes ahead and introduces him to underground bare-knuckle fighting. The way he tested him is just crazy to me too, because he sends one of his smallest guys over there to fight him. So, and that's just, and so like I'm thinking like, yeah, anybody could have beat this kid up. That ain't nothing. So I can see why there's a lack of fighting in this movie, because everything that this guy wins in this movie is either by accident or by hugging a whole lot until somebody gets dropped on their head.
Now, see, that's one of the problems that Corey has that I don't have. One of the things about this guy, you learn about the character. His father is a wrestling coach, not a professional wrestling coach, but like actual.
Are we spoiling anything here, by the way?
What? No. Greco wrestling.
Okay.
And when he gets into fights, he can throw a punch. But he's all about that UFC style of grab the guy, get him in a lock, put him in a sleeper hold, and knock his ass out.
See, man, that's why I hate UFC. I mean, people going nuts over it, but yeah, once they get in a hole or get somebody down, it's just punch or choke them out.
Okay.
It's kind of boring.
All right, then call this movie wrestling or hugging.
Yeah, hugging. Because I'm saying that's all that. That's 2 men holding each other till one passes out.
So you guys do not think about cross marketing. Let's kind of bring in the woman element and let's call it cuddling.
Even that it would have been more appropriate than what they have here. I mean,
now come on, you got a fine actor like Channing Tatum.
In his defense, now it's weird because in his defense, he's the one to me in this movie that is coming across all right. I mean, he is who he is.
Because I think that guy really. I mean, like, okay, look, if you got some skills, you got some charisma, or you can sing or something, you don't have to be the greatest actor. But he pushes that too far. It's like, dude, you got to be some kind of actor. Well, listen,
in the movie, he plays a nice guy. And Carlisle even said he's almost kind of a chump because he's very gullible.
Yeah.
And it comes across that way. He's being very polite, and you like him. It's when Terrence Howard comes on that you start to say, is this fool retarded? Because, I mean, you might have a different take on it. But Terrence Howard, I don't know if he's trying to do an accent or if somebody said he might have got punched in the head a whole lot. But really, in the movie, he's good, but it's just the way he's talking that sounds weird, and I'm just like, Jesus, man. Well, just to get Forrest Gump in here while you're at it.
They want us to sell a nice guy whose only talent is beating the shit out of people
and selling counterfeit stuff.
No, he's not. No. It's not like he needs money. I mean, the dude is desperate. Like he left Alabama for some reason. He's trying to make it. So you feel for him.
Yeah.
But when they put him in the middle of this underground fighting ring, they're not making any money because. Okay, look, this is what I understand. If there is a fighting ring, have a ring. They put them in the middle of a crowd of people so that when they start fighting, they tear up shit. Like let's just say, you know what? I want these people to fight in my living room.
So if we were to fight in the studio right now,
you would tear up this computer, you would tear up these microphones, you would tear up every piece of furniture, and that's what they do in this movie.
The problem this film is going to have We've all seen the trailer to this.
Yep.
This film is sold like a teen-marketed exploitation fighting film.
Yeah, I gotta say, I almost wanted to see it just from the little fight scenes they showed. I was like, you know what? This might be one of those dumb but badass movies.
Yeah, it's not that at all.
Oh.
What it wants to be. When I mentioned Rocky, it really borrows from Rocky. This movie focuses on realism. Everybody in this movie is gutter fucking poor. Everybody who's trying to make a buck is trying to make a buck just to get by. I mean, when there's a moment where Terrence Howard refers to himself as a two-bit hustler, and he really is just a two-bit hustler. None of anything he does ever goes right. This is the first time he's scored on anything with this kid, and this kid's doing so much better than he ever expected him to. And they're starting to hit the big time. And every time they win something, they go out to the club and they throw money around like it's nothing. We're VIP tonight, baby. And everybody in this movie is a fucking poser. But that's what the movie's about. This movie is all about just getting down to the gritty, raw realism of this thing. And these fights that Corey's talking about, it really is that way in a sense. This is how a fight would really happen. A bunch of people would show up in a building and stand around. They wouldn't build shit because then the cops could nail them for it.
Exactly.
There's a guy up on the steps, and when the two guys see each other, they know they're going to fight. Everybody moves around, and they watch these guys beat the shit out of each other. And when something goes bad, everybody takes off running.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie is. This movie, I think, has an audience. They didn't sell it properly. This feels, I think Corey nailed it earlier when we were talking. He said that this should be marketed towards an IFC crowd, because this really is kind of that movie.
So you make it sound like The Wrestler.
Except it's not anywhere near as
you
good
said
as The Wrestler.
IFC, not UFC, right?
Yes.
Oh, you said IFC. I was thinking independent film channel.
no,
that's why I
that's
said
what
The
he
Wrestler.
said.
Because
okay.
Yeah, no, because it's not The Wrestler, but it is. It's a movie that's very much about being poor in the city and hustling your way about and trying to get by any way you can. And it kind of nails the heart of that. But it's got a really weird pacing to it that's very strange. It feels like one of those blaxploitation films about the same kind of thing from the late 70s.
Well,
Wasn't Monkey Hustle about that?
Well, one of the strengths of the movie is that actually they do try to film it in a real way. And that is one of the things that goes against it, because you feel like they're letting these characters ad-lib. They try to have they have a lot of handheld. They have a lot of just real gritty scenes of the streets of New York. And that feels all right. And I think the only thing that makes it feels like it's blaxploitation is that they play a couple of Marvin Gaye songs. They have some songs that sound like they're from the 70s R&B era. But they let these actors ad-lib too.
Oh. I don't think that's ad-libbing. I think that's how it was written.
Well, if they aren't, they're either reading those lines really bad or they're ad-libbing badly. There's a scene where Channing Tatum, he meets this girl. What was her name? And her name is really this in real life. Her name is Zulai in real life, by the way. Zulai Valez. And he goes, and she's a fine-ass girl, all right? And so...
Yeah, she's pretty damn hot.
Pretty much is stalking this girl. He does not go away like, I'm going to be here every day until let me take you out for a date. Normally somebody would call the police, but she's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
You're a fighter. You probably beat my ass before I can call the police. But they get to her apartment, and she has a rent overdue notice on her door. She must have said about 3 times, that's not real. I have the rent. Over here's my living room. Oh, yeah, this sign, that's not real. I have the rent. I have a daughter. Over here's my pictures of my kid. That's not real. I have the rent. And it's like, man, y'all either need to edit this shit or write your shit a little tighter, because this ain't working, at least not for me. In the movie, it really does have its moments where it is actually kind of cool in the beginning. You do like Terrence Howard, whether you like the way he's saying his dialogue or not, because he's a scam artist.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see him interact with these people and scamming on the streets.
It's about this guy you're about to go up against. I know you're a tough guy and everything, Sean, but you're not going to beat him. What he's going to...
I can handle myself.
I know you can. That's why when he puts you in the choke move, you're going to go to sleep. It's that easy.
What are you saying?
I think you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't know what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying you want me to throw it.
Well, whatever you want to call it, But we're going to make some money, not like up in the Bronx when you complaining about that whole thing, right?
No, I'm not losing.
I know you're not going to lose. You're going to do what I'm telling you to do.
And I appreciate everything you did for me. But, the only way I'm going to lose is if somebody beats me.
It's nice to see Channing Tatum get kind of pulled into this, not knowing where it's going to go. But when you start waiting for real fights to come in, and you start waiting for something to happen, and it doesn't, it gets for me, it gets pretty boring. And those fight scenes are not, except for the end, where they just tear up somebody's house. And people are even saying, "Stop, stop!" And they are not stopping. It's almost like it's like watching Watchmen or something. They're crashing through walls.
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
It's really kind of slightly amusing in that vein. In that this guy's like, "All right, everybody out to the terrace. We're gonna have a fight," and they're having a fight out on the terrace. And